This might be the closest thing to a perfect gaming laptop I've ever used. It feels like a MacBook, it runs Windows, and it can actually game. But the more I used it the more I realized that things weren't as perfect as they looked. Now, I've tested and sold a ton of laptops over the years, cheap ones, expensive ones, and everything in between. And on paper, this should be perfect. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where this laptop gets it right, where it falls short, and most importantly, whether it is worth your money. This is the asus Zephyrus G16 from late 2024 to early 2025, and here are the specs on this unit. This laptop is going to run you about $2,400 on Amazon, which is quite much. I don't know if that is due to the recent RAM shortage. However, later in this video, I'm going to show you something that I found which is pretty interesting in terms of pricing. Now, let's take a look at what you get for all that money. First off, let's take a look at the build quality and the design, because trust me, this is one way you can easily tell premium from mediocre. This laptop is built with complete CNC aluminum on the top and on the body, and then closing it, you have some plastic on the bottom. Overall, it is pretty well built and sturdy. It kinda gives off the MacBook vibe. And honestly, it's one of the best material choices you could have chosen for a premium laptop like this. The material choice on this laptop makes it such that it is quite resistant to scratches and wear, meaning you're going to have this laptop looking really good for a really long time. The material on this laptop also shows a bit of fingerprints, so you might have to clean it a bit more frequently. The design and the aesthetic on this laptop is pretty mute, with a simple slash across the top lid and a very mute ROG logo at the bottom left. You also have the Zephyrus naming on the back, and that's all in terms of branding on this laptop. It's pretty clean, and honestly I can't complain. The slash on the top lid does have LEDs in them, and at first I thought they could only be used to display certain patterns, until I discovered the slash could also be used to show when your laptop is charging, or even your battery percentage, all without having to open your laptop. Overall, I feel like the material choices and the aesthetic choices on this laptop are pretty good. For me, I actually like how it looks and how it feels. If you've been enjoying the video so far, make sure to leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button. We are trying to hit 1,000 subs, and I'll be very grateful if you do subscribe. Moving on, let's talk about the ports on this laptop. On the right hand side, you get a USB-C, a USB-A, and an SD card slot, while on the left hand side, you have the power connector, the HDMI port, the USB-C port, and the USB-A port, also with a headphone combo jack port. You get no ports on the back whatsoever. If you're a right-handed or a left-handed mouse user, you're going to get interrupted by the cables. And if you plan to have this laptop in any sort of setup, you might have to deal with some cable problems. But aside that, they are a really solid selection of ports. Opening this laptop up, the hinges feel pretty good. It does have a bit of wobble to it, but nothing too concerning, so I don't think it will be much of a problem. And as you can see, it did pass the one-hand open test. This laptop comes with pretty thin bezels that houses a 1080p webcam, and here's how that looks. This is how the webcam looks, and this is how the microphone on the Zephyrus G16 sounds. I have a soft light pointing at my face, and I have a harsh light in the background, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below on both how it looks and how it sounds. Now moving on to one of the best parts of this laptop, its screen. It comes with an OLED screen, and here are the specifications. The OLED screen on it looks really sharp and vibrant, colors pop. I tried using it with some games, I tried watching some movies, things just looked really sharp and vibrant. The screen also gets really bright in the dark, so you have nothing to worry about. If you're someone who is into any sort of color work, or you're just someone who appreciates good visuals, this laptop is definitely for you. One thing that I'll be worried about on this screen though is that it is glossy, which means that it picks up fingerprints a lot, and it's also quite reflective. And as much as it looks good when it's dark, if there's any sort of light behind you when you're using this laptop, it catches quite the reflection. So have that at the back of your mind. Now moving on to its keyboard. This is also another area where Asus really shines. The keyboard feels really good to type on. it has very nice key travels, and even when you game, it feels really good. It also comes with a single zone RGB keyboard, which is vibrant to be honest. However, it's a single zone RGB keyboard and it gets boring quite easily. Just below the keyboard, you have this massive sized glass trackpad which looks quite intimidating. However, it is pretty precise and accurate, and this unit does feel well tuned. The sound it makes when you click the left and right button just feels so satisfying. I did find out that the top part of the trackpad doesn't click in, so that might take some getting used to. But overall, I feel like this trackpad is going to be good enough for whatever you need it for. Now let's talk about the overall performance that you get out of this machine. Multitasking and running single-threaded tasks are quite a breeze thanks to the Core Ultra 9 185H CPU that this laptop comes with. The gaming performance you get on it is also quite respectable thanks to the RTX 4070 graphics card that it comes with. Here are some of the performance results that I was able to get on this computer. We are starting off the test with Cyberpunk, resolution at 2560 by 1900, settings at high, no frame gen, no DLSS. Keep an eye out at the top left corner for the performance details throughout the tests. So with settings on high, it did an average of 60 FPS without ray tracing or DLSS, purely its native performance. Now we are going to turn on ray tracing to medium and DLSS to performance. Ray tracing makes the lighting noticeably better in my opinion, and combined with the OLED screen, sheesh, it does look good. On average, we got 68 FPS, which was quite interesting because with DLSS at performance, I expected more frames, but with ray tracing on, it looks good and it's definitely playable for a story mode game. Now let's see how much frame we can get with just DLSS and no ray tracing. It definitely still looks good even without ray tracing, but now we are getting over 100 FPS, which is good. We got an average of 111 FPS, and honestly I'm not even mad. Yes, it doesn't get up to 144 FPS as I'd like, or 240 FPS to fully take advantage of the screen, but it still looks great and runs pretty smooth. Now moving on to the next game, Apex Legends. It's automatically defaulted to very high, so I'm just gonna leave it at that and see how it runs. The frames are going between 138 FPS all the way to 180 FPS, which is pretty good at very high settings to be honest. Now let's turn down all of the settings to low, because first we are trying to see the maximum frames that this laptop can push, and secondly this is how most people who play competitive shooters like this play them. Off the bat, it does feel more responsive. We are getting between 130 FPS to 180 FPS. I don't know why we aren't getting much more frames at low settings. Maybe it's been bottlenecked by something, but either ways, this game is very much playable. As you can see with the numbers, this laptop is able to handle 1440p gaming from medium to high with decent frame rates. And if you're an editor, coder or graphics designer, be rest assured that this laptop is powerful enough to carry whatever software you throw at it. Now speaking of performance, there was something that is a bit alarming that I noticed about this laptop while I was doing the performance tests, and that is thermal throttling. Yes, this laptop thermal throttles its performance when it hits a certain degree. I definitely experienced it in a game where I was getting about 120 FPS to begin with, and about 40 minutes into the game, I was averaging around 110 to 105 FPS, which is almost a 20 FPS drop. And the other thing that caught me by surprise was when I placed my hand on the laptop to feel its temperature. Oh damn, it was cooking. This laptop was literally cooking itself. That is alarming. I later found out that a way to reduce this from happening is by dropping the settings of whatever game you're playing by just a bit, so that the laptop doesn't have to work as hard. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate when you have a laptop that has all of this power yet cannot sustain it for a long period of time. This laptop comes with a 90 watt-hour battery and on eco mode can last you around 8 to 10 hours during YouTube playback, while doing anything a bit more intensive might drop that to around 3 to 4 hours. But don't be scared just yet. This laptop comes with a 200 watt power brick which looks pretty portable, and even if you do not want to take that out, you can use a USB-C to charge this laptop up. That is usually my preferred way of charging when on the go or when doing things that are not that intensive. Here is how the downward firing speakers on this laptop sound. These are one of the best speakers I've ever come across on a Windows gaming laptop. Heck, I can even say in the entire lineup of Windows laptops that exists. To me, the only speakers that come close to sounding this good are the speakers on the MacBook. There's a lot of bass, there's decent trebles, and the highs sound really clear. With these laptop speakers, you don't always need headphones or external speakers to enjoy your movie watching or music listening. Getting into this laptop is pretty easy. You have a total of 9 hex screws to take out, after which you have access to the internals of this laptop. On the inside, we realized that the 16GB DDR5 RAM is soldered on board, which means no further upgradability or repairs can be done if the RAM goes bad. You also have 2 replaceable SSD slots and a replaceable Wi-Fi card. If you plan on picking this laptop up, you can do so using my link in the description below. And regarding what I said I found as regards to pricing, I found out that for just about $400 more, you can grab the late 2025 version, which includes a better CPU and GPU. Although you will face similar or lesser problems on it, as they are basically the same laptop. So, is this the perfect gaming laptop? As you can see, not quite. And the problem with this laptop isn't even that it's bad, it's that it almost gets everything right, and that exactly is what frustrates me. In my opinion, this is a near perfect gaming laptop, bound by 1 or 2 decisions that stops it from actually being perfect. If you care about design, portability, and solid all-round performance, you love this. But if you are buying this expecting to get maximum performance, I'm sorry you get disappointed. But if somehow Asus is able to fix the thermals, tweak the power limits, and give the laptop even better battery life and better performance on battery, then maybe this laptop could then be considered the perfect gaming laptop, or as I say, the MacBook of gaming. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy one of my videos that pops up on your screen right now. Why don't you give it a watch? Thanks for watching and see you later.